Sunshine, baby. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, and don't feel all right now, and don't feel hey, don't feel.
Hello, and welcome to the Care Dimensions Walk for Hospice 2020 Virtual Edition. I'm AJ Burnett from WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. I call the North Shore home, and so does Care Dimensions, so I'm really proud and honored to be part of today's ceremonies. Thank you so much for spending part of your Sunday with us. I am here at St. John's Prep in Danvers, and any other year I'd be joined by thousands of walkers and supporters of Care Dimensions. Of course, because of the pandemic, we couldn't get together in person this year, so we're meeting virtually, and you are all invited to walk whenever and wherever you want. And by the way, that means if you didn't get your walk done in time today, that's okay. There's still plenty of time. There's so many ways you can still support the walk. They're accepting donations through the end of the year. And as a matter of fact, you can click the link right here in this broadcast to make your donation now. Before we get started, just a little bit about today. Kicking us off will be Care Dimensions CEO Pat Ahern. And as the program unfolds, we will learn the history and importance of the walk and about the impact of the funds raised. We're going to hear from walkers and listen to some amazing stories why people walk to support this organization. And some of those in the local business community will share why they sponsored this event. We're going to begin this year, as we do every year, with the national anthem, being brought to you virtually this year by the Danvers High School a cappella group, Falcon Eyes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
what so proudly we held
at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Our first guest this morning is someone you probably already know, or at least many of you do. It's Care Dimensions President and CEO Pat Ahern. Pat, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Awesome. You know, obviously, the walk is going to look a lot different this year. It's virtual. Can you tell me a little bit about the importance of the walk overall and having it, even though it's virtual this year?
Yeah, this year it certainly is different, but what isn't different is the spirit and the enthusiasm and the energy and the mission. What we do at our walk every single year is we find a way to help people reconnect with folks that in their lives that they have loved and lost. Some of them recently, some of them many, many years ago or generations ago. And this is a very important milestone event for many, many families that come every single year. It's important because it helps us not only with fundraising, but also with fundraising. Mm-hmm. We need that fundraising to support all of the aspects of our mission that are so important for our patients and families and communities. We're taking care of more than 2,000 people on any single day. And we want to make sure that they have the very best possible experience that they can. Mm-hmm. So even though we are in the middle of a pandemic and we are still an essential service, we've been working since February. Mm-hmm. Some of our office people got to work from home. We set them up at home, but most of our employees are doing what they've always done, going to patients' homes, seeing patients and families, going to assisted living facilities, hospitals, nursing homes, and we have had to make them very, very well protected so that the employees are just as safe and secure as the patients and families are. And so it's been an expensive year. That's why this is important to us.
And what does it mean to see so many people carrying on the tradition, despite the fact that we're in a pandemic this year? It must feel pretty neat to be surrounded by this, these people who are still coming out.
Yeah, it feels great. And I'm telling you, usually it's as early as January that I start to hear from people in the community. The phone will ring and it'll be a little shaky voice on the phone saying, you are still going to have the walk this year, aren't you? And then when the plans changed, what are you going to do about the walk? You're not going to cancel it, are you? And so I hear that all of the time. In January and February, some of our teams are already dreaming and scheming about what they can help with in terms of the fundraising and friend raising. They've, they're doing all kinds of creative stuff. In a funny way, the pandemic and the isolation has made their dreams and schemes a little bit different and a little bit more creative and innovative than they've been in the past.
Pat, I'm sure the list is long this year, especially given the pandemic, for people that you'd like to thank for being able to put this on today. Would you like to send any thank you shout outs?
Absolutely. We have an event committee that has really helped to show us the way about our priorities. We have volunteers, we have staff. Our philanthropy team here at Care Dimensions is really showing us innovation at its core. I want to make sure that we thank our sponsors. Want to thank you for your help today. And certainly I want you to know, I want everyone to know that St. John's Prep, they wrote the book on hospitality and partnership. Ed Hardiman, you'll hear from soon. They have been extraordinary in terms of their support and leadership for us for many, many years.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. And speaking of Ed Hardiman, that's where we start this morning with a few people who can speak to the mission, the importance of having the walk today. Ed Hardiman is the headmaster here at St. John's Prep.
One of the 5 spiritual values that animate Severian education is the value of compassion. We teach our students that compassion is an action verb. It's a way of being with one another. It's a way of being aware of the issues that other people experience, the challenge that other people experience. It's a way of challenging our community to influence any situation they encounter for the benefit of others. Partnering with Care Dimensions and supporting the annual Walk for Hospice is one of the many ways that the prep community seeks to live that value of compassion, to provide an amazing support for families as they journey towards the end of life, and to be present with them, to be aware of the challenges they face, the sadness that they face, and to support them in this challenging time. It's our privilege to partner with Care Dimensions and to find another organization that shares that commitment to compassion.
My name is Joanne McInnes. I'm a registered nurse. I own and operate Aberdeen Home Care in Danvers. We're a private agency that works collaboratively with Care Dimensions to help meet the care needs that families may have during difficult time. I have my own personal hospice story. My mother was also a nurse, and she ended up, having a health issue and ended up at the Kaplan House, where we magically transformed her room into Santa's Village. And those that work there will remember. And I, knowing many of those people, couldn't have been more grateful to have my mother in such a competent, caring, loving environment, and me as well, during those last couple of weeks of her life. I know firsthand through my own personal experience and through my experience at Aberdeen, the power of the work that's done in our community by Care Dimensions. I worked for Care Dimensions back in the mid-90s. I was the clinical manager. I was in charge of all the nursing staff and the home health aid staff on Elm Street. That was a different time, a different place, and a much smaller agency. It's just continued to grow because of its excellence. Care Dimensions is the only hospice that I am connected with because it is so extraordinary in its mission, in its practice, in its philosophy. So I welcome you today, and with a full heart, my own experience included, and that experience that continues to today in the clients that we care for mutually. It's a pleasure to be with you, and welcome to the walk. I want to introduce to you today Nancy Palmer. Nancy has been a board member of Care Dimensions for a long time, as well as co-chair of the walk. So welcome, Nancy. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Always happy to talk about Care Dimensions and the walk.
So this year, the walk's been different because it's a virtual walk. First time it's ever happened in the history of the organization. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges and how we have had to approach this a little bit differently?
Well, I think, the fact that we want to keep everybody safe has made it a little bit different. And so we still want to take time to celebrate all that Care Dimensions does for patients and for families. And so we had to kind of put our heads around it and say, how are we going to do this? So we decided that we could do it virtually, make it as easy for everybody as we can. In keeping people safe, people can still walk. They can walk anytime, any place, which is great. The one thing that I think we miss is the camaraderie of the group, but nonetheless, we still have families and loved ones and friends who can walk in memory of perhaps a patient who was under Care Dimensions care, whether it was this year or last year or many years to go past. This is a wonderful opportunity to still celebrate the loved one who has gone from us, and for families and friends to come together. It just means we're not together in a bigger audience, but it still has meaning. We still are honoring the people we care about and love.
So Nancy, help us understand maybe where this fundraising goes and why it's so essential for us to continue to have Care Dimensions in the forefront of our mind in terms of fundraising and community awareness.
Some of the things that can help people in there and trying to accommodate their wishes are things like massage therapy, Reiki, pet therapy, art therapy. And those are funds that are never reimbursed by anybody. Those are strictly taken care of out of fundraising from Care Dimensions. The one thing that I want to say and remind people, I think oftentimes people think about Care Dimensions and hospice care for taking care of people at the end of their life. But one thing that has always struck me and that I felt very passionate about is the fact that at the end of the life, it's often not the patients. The patients are taken care of, they're in pain, and they're comforted as best they can. But the families, the reward for the families in Care Dimensions is just unbelievable. And it allows the families, to be wives and mothers and grandmothers and aunts and sisters and brothers and uncles and spouses without having to take so much care of the individual. So I think people often don't think about Care Dimensions in that way. And I think that that's such an important piece of what we do. So thank you for this opportunity. The walk is a great time to remember our loved ones and also the great care that they have received by the staff at Care Dimensions.
Thank you, Nancy Palmer. She's our board member of Care Dimensions, past co-chair of the walk, great supporter and friend of Care Dimensions. So thank you so much, Nancy Palmer, for being with us today.
This is the 33rd annual Care Dimensions Walk for Hospice. And as you just heard from Joanne, Nancy, and Pat, the funds raised go to a lot of programs that help Care Dimensions go above and beyond for their patients. Programs like massage, music and pet therapy, grief support, and volunteer training. Care Dimensions also has a family fund, which helps pay for non-medical expenses such as groceries, utilities, and rent. All of those programs are primarily funded through donations. Each year we have new walk teams that form, and there are teams that return year after year, becoming a tradition and a special time to remember the loved ones and celebrate caregivers who helped them along their way. The walk could not be a success without all of them, and we wanted to take a moment to share some of their stories with you.
I'm Dick Watson. I've been doing the walk probably 5 years. This will make the 5th. And I do the walk because of the patients and the relatives in hospice. I don't know them, but I do care. Because of the virus, I had to do the walk bit by bit and my own route. And I'm soloing. I'm only 97. Maybe I'll be doing this when I'm 100. Who knows?
Hi, I'm Elaine Nickerson, and this is my sister Rose King. We live here on Plum Island, and we're raising money in memory of my husband Charlie.
So we painted these rocks with
designs on these rocks, and we are offering them for donation for fundraising for our rock team.
Hi, I'm Becky Christie from Salem. I'm a Care Dimensions volunteer and have been a volunteer since 2015. This year I did my walk on August 29th around the city of Salem in honor and memory of my friend Paul, who passed away from pancreatic cancer in May. Paul was one of the original swimmers in the annual Freeze Your Tush Off for Charity Ocean Dip. So my walk consisted of the places where the dip took place, and I left my little Care Dimensions heart with his name on it at the original beach in Juniper Cove where we started. Care Dimensions is a great organization, and I can't possibly say enough about them. Thank you.
I got into the walk slowly, but it's like one of the things I look forward to for doing for Care Dimensions every year. And it's for me to have closure with people in my own family that have had hospice services, my neighbors who have had hospice services for their loved ones, my friends who have had hospice services for their loved ones, and all my patients' families. And it's a joy to get them involved if they want. And it's a joy to be a part of the walk every year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Smith, and I've been on the board of directors of Care Dimensions since 1999, and I'm a resident of Topsfield and a proud participant in the walk for Care Dimensions for many, many years. I love doing it. I love being part of it. And I think what I love most about it is the families that come together to honor their loved ones. And it makes me feel very, very proud of the organization and what we do for our patients and their families.
Hi, my name is Ian Smith. I've been working at Care Dimensions for 4 years. I love what the company stands for, and I love what they do to help families and patients.
Hi, I'm Diane Gokas. I represent the SP's Heart and Soul, or Stephanie Patel, our medical director. We're here to raise funds for the virtual walk this year. Our team includes physician services, home MD, and also palliative care. I personally walk for my mom and dad who passed at the Kaplan House together, and also one of my uncles. And there's a lot of people here that have similar stories, and we just want to walk and raise money for this wonderful organization. I love everybody here.
Hi, I'm Sean Neville. I'm a communication specialist here at Care Dimensions, and I'm joined by one of our walkers this year, Susan Richardson. Susan, thanks so much for being a part of today's event.
Hi, Sean. So nice to meet you, and it's my pleasure to be here.
All right, Susan, this is your first year doing the walk, but you've known about Care Dimensions for a few years now. Can you kind of tell everyone about your family's experiences with Care Dimensions?
I would be happy to. My sister was admitted to the Kaplan House a year ago, January, because she was in the last leg of her journey with breast cancer. And we knew about Care Dimensions through just her cancer specialist had recommended that Cheryl get in touch with the hospice several months before that point. But then when it came down to the wire, she was admitted to Kaplan House in January of last year. She had the last 6 weeks of her life at Kaplan House, and we couldn't say enough wonderful things about it. Everyone was wonderful. The doctors, especially Dr. Heidi Blake, she was phenomenal. We had so many great relationships with the staff and the faculty, the nurses, Jill in the kitchen, Paul, the lovely maintenance man who would fill the bird feeders for Cheryl every day so she could see the birds feeding. Joan, who did the Reiki, would come and just do a wonderful Reiki session at night so Cheryl could sleep. Everyone was just phenomenal. Jessie was one of the nurses. I mean, I'm trying to remember all the names, but Pastor Ed, who would pray with us, we just were so well cared for, not just my sister, but everyone in the family. They were greatly patient with us with questions and needs that just, that had to be met, accommodating us, because I basically took a leave of absence from work so I could move in with her down there. And we would have rotating people spending the night. My dad stayed over, Kyle stayed over, my sister's son, my brother, her friend Ellen. We would all take shifts of spending the night with my sister, so she was never alone. And everyone was just lovely. They're loving people. In many ways, when you're in any kind of a career, you can see people do it because it's their job. But we never met anybody at Kaplan who didn't love to be in this place of serving these people and their families as they face that last journey. They were just lovely.
You mentioned your nephew Kyle there, and some folks might remember because there was a special event when your sister was over at Kaplan House. He was at St. John's Prep when your sister went into hospice, and they actually held a graduation ceremony. Can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yes. The following week after Cheryl was admitted, St. John's and Kaplan House staff got together. They had a graduation so Cheryl could see Kyle graduate. He was scheduled to graduate that May, and Cheryl was admitted in January. She lived till March, but we didn't know how long we were going to have. So they put together this amazing graduation ceremony. The faculty and professors and the dean, they all came down. They had their robes. Some of Kyle's friends and fellow students came. We had some family and friends there as well. They had a cake and balloons. It was just really beautiful. Cheryl got to see Kyle receive his diploma and lots of photos so she could have those memories for a while, but also so Kyle could have those memories for his life. We were just thrilled with that whole presentation, and it was flabbergasted actually because, she was there a week and they just put this together within a matter of days. It was really impressive.
That's great. This year for the walk, it's a virtual event. It was walk wherever you want, whenever you want, and you had a special walk that you took. Can you tell people about your walk?
Yes, I decided to go to Lynn Woods. My family grew up in Lynn. Cheryl lived very close to Lynn Woods for several years when she bought her home, and Kyle walked there too. So it had a lot of connection. Family hikes, exploring Dungeon Rock, going up the stone and steel towers, following all the trails. So my husband and I went down this past Saturday, even though we know the virtual walk is being held on the 27th, which is actually Cheryl's birthday. And I painted all kinds of pebbles that symbolized different things that my sister liked or that were special to our relationship. And I placed them on the different trails so other people could find them. And it was really a fun day. I could tell all kinds of stories to my husband about some of the walks we had when we were children with friends and cousins, when we were teenagers with boyfriends, when we were in our young adulthood with other boyfriends and husbands, and when Cheryl had Kyle, we took him up there. Kyle also had his Eagle Scout project there the November before Cheryl was admitted to hospice, and he made trail signs up there. So we all were part of that. It just had a whole lifelong attachment.
That's great. That's great. Finally, I just want to ask you, we're asking a number of walkers this year why they walk. And I guess I would just ask you, why was it important for you to do an event like this?
Well, clearly I wanted to remember my sister in a special way. And I love to do these kinds of fundraising events and memorial events that are special to any kind of a cause that I believe in, but especially with Care Dimensions. I really love what they did for our family and for my sister. So I really, truly wanted to be a part of this and commemorate it in some way and remember my sister and support Care Dimensions. So I chose to do the walk in honor of Cheryl, in support of Care Dimensions, in my own special way, at a place that has great meaning to my family, to me, to my sister, and do something creative and leave these little pebbles for others to find. I actually wrote on the back of them, Walk for Hospice 2020 in memory of Cheryl. So it was just nice to have that so others could find them and see that. And then hopefully they will look it up online and say, what's this all about? And learn a little bit about Care Dimensions as well.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for doing that, Susan. And thank you for sharing your story with everybody today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking me to be part of this.
I have a very special guest with me, and that is Dr. Kristen Schaefer. And Dr. Schaefer is a medical director with Care Dimensions, covering the Boston area. And welcome to Walk Day, Dr. Schaefer.
Oh, hi, Joanne. Thanks so much for having me. Welcome everyone to Walk Day. This is exciting.
So you've really been creative in terms of how you've reached out to your colleagues and your fan base, how to elicit funds when generally we have a great big massive event on the grounds of St. John's Prep High School in Danvers, and it's really a very robust day. And now, like everything, it's different. But you have exploded outside the box and been able to capture a lot of people's attention to elicit their support and their contributions. Tell us a little bit about how you made that happen.
Well, I was excited for the chance to walk in this year, and then always the question of how to kind of raise funds. So I had an idea, because I had just started in this role. Actually, there were a lot of my friends and colleagues and family who didn't know the details that I had taken this new job. So I realized I'm not a regular Facebook person, actually, but I do have a long list of contacts and friends. So I realized I could make a post and let people know two things: both that they had an opportunity to contribute to this organization that I love and now I'm part of, and also just to let them know that I had joined Care Dimensions. And it was a nice opportunity to catch people and let them know what I'm up to, and also ask them to support this organization that I love.
I think your efforts have been very successful, if I'm hearing correctly from those who count the numbers. So thank you for that creative way of reaching out. I'm not a great Facebook.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the other piece, honestly, is just that my friends and many of my colleagues, I think I framed the post as a bit of a thank you to them as well for knowing about me, that hospice has been important to me in my care of family members over many years. And so I was able to say, I think all of you know how much hospice means to me and how important it's been to me. And so I'm particularly happy to be able to let you know that my career has taken this path and that I now have this wonderful organization. So it was also actually a way of saying thank you to my friends and family who have really walked this path with me for many years.
None of us do it alone, and it can't be done alone. I think that brings us to one last question that I have for you about people walking the journey with you, and people who can't take away your pain. They can't reverse a medical diagnosis, but they can transform the experience with their expertise and their passion and their knowledge and their skill level, not just for the person suffering with the illness, but for everyone connected to that person. Can you give us, here we are on Walk Day, can you give us a little message, pull it out of your hat, about a way to summarize what you see the value of hospice in being to families and the person with the illness?
Yes. I actually think this walk is a good example of what hospice is, because I had understood when I learned about the walk how so many people from the community come to join us in this walk, and people who have had their loved ones cared for by and with Care Dimensions, and this sense that we're all in it together, and that people who have received this care and been a part of it, we all know how important it was for our loved one, but also for our own having the strength to care for our loved ones, and also having the strength to move on and heal from a loss. My real passion, and I believe that everyone walking today has a real passion to know how good this care is and want everyone who deserves it and wants it to have access to it. So I think, thank you so much for walking and for supporting this organization. And our vision is to really bring this beautiful service to as many people who deserve and want to have this kind of care for themselves and their family.
Thank you, Dr. Kristen Schaefer, for inspiration. Not only are you a medical guru, you have all the heart that needs to go with that. So thank you so much for being with us today and reminding us that we're not alone. And we're not at St. John's Prep Field ready to go out and walk around that neighborhood together with arms linked, but we're still together. And that's one thing that hospice is really all about for me. So thank you for being together.
Yes,
with us
have
today.
fun walking. Have
That's
fun.
right.
Happy walk day.
So what? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Joanne.
Hi, my name is Evan Hannibal. I'm Drew Keenan. I'm Zach Blahos. We're the captains of St. John's Prep soccer team, and we still support the Care Dimensions Walk for Hospice. We're sad that we can't do it this year due to the pandemic, but we still support the cause.
Hi, I'm Thomas Lyer from the St. John's Prep fencing team, and I volunteer for the Walk for Hospice every year because I support our community.
I walk because I love to spend the day with people from all over the place to come together for one cause.
Hi, my name is Spencer Lawson, and I'm from the SJP Drama Guild 2020 team. We usually always go out on the walk every single year, but unfortunately this year we cannot, but we still wanted to raise awareness and show our support.
Why I walk? To say thank you to exceptional caregivers.
Hi, we're from the St. John's Prep football team, and we support the Care Dimensions Walk for Hospice. We're usually out there on walk day as volunteers, but this year we wanted to show our support differently. Good luck!
Hey! We are walking for hospice, Care Dimensions. Woo! Hey, Care Dimensions!
We know how important this is. We don't walk for a cure. We walk to provide comfort for our members of our community when they are the most vulnerable.
So many great stories and so many great reasons to support the walk. Please use the link to make your donation today. During this pandemic, the team at Care Dimensions is touched by the longtime sponsors that come back year after year and have supported us again this year. We want to send a special thanks to this year's presenting sponsor, Brown Brothers Harriman. In addition, special acknowledgement to our Village and Route sponsors, Aberdeen Home Care, Align Credit Union, Boston North Cancer Association, Cataldo Ambulance and Smart Care, Copyright Clearance Center, Eastern Bank, Enos Home Medical, Great Marsh Brewery, Long-Term Pharmacy Solutions, Marsh and McLennan Companies, People's United Bank, State Serve Hospice Link, Zampel Industries. On behalf of the Walk Leadership Committee, thank you to all who contribute to this event and make it a success. One of those top sponsors I mentioned is Copyright Clearance Center, based right here in Danvers, but with global reach. Last week, the company had a walk day encouraging employee team members to get out and take their separate walks in a united effort. Copyright Clearance has long been a big supporter of this event with one of the largest teams, and that's thanks to Christy Powell. Christy worked at Copyright Clearance and was a Care Dimensions volunteer. She organized the team each year and headed up fundraising efforts. Sadly, she lost her battle with cancer earlier this year. We are paying tribute to Christy's memory and her colleagues are walking to honor her dedication to Care Dimensions.
I am so honored to be supporting Care Dimensions and their Walk for Hospice this September. Care Dimensions provides essential spiritual, emotional, and medical care to patients, palliative care, and at their end-of-life journey. Care Dimensions work is important to all of us, and it was especially important to my good friend, Christy Powell, who dedicated her professional and personal time to supporting Care Dimensions. She took time off from work to become trained as a volunteer to sit with people so they would never be alone at their end-of-life journey. And she received amazing care from Care Dimensions' amazingly professional staff at her own end-of-life journey earlier this year.
When I think of the Walk for Hospice, I think of Christy Powell, our colleague who we lost earlier this year. Christy was the biggest cheerleader for this event and such an avid supporter for Care Dimensions. Every year at CCC, she made our team bigger and bigger and more enthusiastic about supporting Care Dimensions. And when I walk this year with Team CCC virtually, I'll definitely be thinking about Christy.
Our wonderful colleague and friend, Christy Powell, was always a constant at these September walks. Just like at work, she was selfless in her concern for others and inspirational with her volunteer work. While I'll miss Christy's kind words, her radiant smile, and her abundance of goodwill and optimism, I know Christy will be walking with us in spirit this and every year.
Christy inspired me and my colleagues at Copyright Clearance Center to support Care Dimensions. I walk in her memory and in her honor, and I invite you to join me in supporting Care Dimensions, honoring the memory of your loved ones and all who have received amazing care from Care Dimensions. Please support these frontline workers for all that they do in our community. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support for Care Dimensions and Hospice.
Hi, I'm Joanne, back again with another great guest. This is Brian Mason. He is the Senior Vice President at People's United Bank. And welcome to the Walk for Hospice 2020.
Thanks, Joanne. It's great to be here.
A couple questions for you. People's United Bank does a lot of community partnerships with worthy organizations. Obviously, that's a mission, a goal, one of your corporate values. Can you tell us a little bit about why People's has that passion for the community?
Absolutely. So community giving has really been a part of the bank's mission for our entire history, which dates back over 175 years. We really take pride in building on that legacy and supporting the needs of the individuals, families, and businesses in the communities that we do business in. The bank has built a long-term relationship with Care Dimensions, and so we've really been able to see the impact that they have on those suffering with serious and life-threatening illnesses. And we feel like it's a great investment and something we should be doing with our community investment dollars. So we really feel that supporting Care Dimensions is the prudent thing to do, so we can ensure that our employees, our customers, and their families have access to this kind of support, whether they need it now or in the future.
That's great. That's so helpful. You know, I'm a nurse and have been a nurse for almost 40 years. And I actually was an employee at Care Dimensions when it was Hospice of the North Shore. So it's in my blood. But I'm wondering, here you are, a banker, you know, not in the medical world, but you obviously see a value, a huge value in this work. Could you speak to that from your position as not being in the medical world about the impact that you see Care Dimensions having on a personal level?
Sure. So with what I do, I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and it's amazing the difference between a lot of nonprofit organizations and your traditional, middle market companies are the people that work there. They're so passionate about what they do, and from the top down, Pat Ahern is such a sweet person, and I think that flows down, and you meet some of the nursing staff, and they're so passionate, and they're so caring about what they do. And I think for a lot of people, it's natural to have a fear and uncertainty about hospice care. It's normal. And I think you see what Care Dimensions does, and they focus on the patient and the family's emotional and spiritual needs during this time. And they just provide such a high quality of life, at the end of life, so people can really focus on the things that they care about and that are important. So for us, it's the work they do is truly transformational.
Thank you so much, Brian Mason, for being with us today.
Thanks, Joanne. I really appreciate it.
We are coming to the close of this year's virtual event for the Walk for Hospice. A reminder, there's still time to donate. There's a donation link attached to this video, or you can go to the Care Dimensions Walk page and search for a specific team or walker to support. All the money goes to support Care Dimensions programs. I'd also like to publicly thank the Walk Leadership Committee. This group meets for months before the event to talk about fundraising, help organize teams, and publicize the event across the region. This year, they mostly had to meet virtually, a lot of new challenge, but we're still able to make this walk meaningful and a success. As we get ready to say goodbye this year, we leave you with tributes that were submitted by our walkers and sponsors. So much of what Care Dimensions does revolves around end-of-life care. Your support for this event means that patients and loved ones can continue to receive compassionate and expert care when they need it the most. Thanks so much for joining us.
you.